Hey friends! In this video, we are going to be discussing the 3 types of people to avoid, especially when you have decided to take on a path of self-mastery. These types of people, they not only need to be avoided and possibly removed completely from your life, but we should also be aware that these types of personalities are essential learning tools in our journey to self-mastery. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, then stick around.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think you'll have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so bright, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, got it.
Okay, let's get to it. So in the beginning of my inner work journey, I had a really hard time when it came to interacting with certain people. You see, when you start working on yourself, your views of your surroundings, your views of the world, your views of things that you thought were priority in your life start to change. So as that changes, so will the company you keep, and so will the type of people you want to entertain. Now, this does not mean that you have to shun everybody around you that doesn't believe what you believe, or, those who are not in that mindset of self-mastery. That would ultimately be displaying a sort of self-righteous attitude, which completely goes against any level of elevated consciousness. No one is better than the other, and it's not our job to tell other people how they should be thinking, but it is our job to protect our own energy. By learning how to protect our own energy, we allow ourselves to be clear-headed, open-minded, and open to other perceptions and other people's opinions, with a complete open heart of no judgment. Although we are developing ourselves to learn how to live within complete love, we also need to remember that evil loves to corrupt good habits. The way others perceive and project their outside world can affect us if we are around them for long amounts of time. When we continue to allow these types of personalities to invade our life, then we become susceptible to slowing down our progression to our ultimate soul alignment. We can become confused, distracted, or completely thrown off track. Every time we begin to elevate our soul and our consciousness, there will always be some type of devil energy that wants to come in and try and turn your strength to weakness. More than often, these are actually shadows of our own egoic self trying to rear its ugly head. We've been conditioned and we've developed an ego within us that feels the need to protect us. So when we start getting to any spot of happiness or comfort, it's confusing for the ego that has been keeping you in survival mode your entire life, and that ego wants to jolt you back there. We really just have to be brighter than any darkness that's trying to come into our life. We have to get ourselves to a state of being that fears no such challenges. We ultimately become untouchable to negative energy. There really is no quick fix when it comes to personal alignment, spiritual healing, and self-awareness. But when we become aware of our surroundings and we become aware of what we're allowing into our life, then we begin to learn how to do better. We learn how to do us better. We learn how to do our relationships better. Encounters with these types of people aren't necessarily bad. They can actually play a very vital role in our ultimate elevation. When we become aware of why these interactions are coming into our life, then we can begin to move ourselves into developing our intuition, following our gut instincts, and actually hearing our higher self. In all actuality, these relationships help us get closer to our true self. When we face darkness with love, poise, and comfort, then boom. Okay, let's get into it. So the number one personality type to avoid during self-mastery is the dispirited. These folks are perpetually negative. You can have a room full of happy people having a great time, and this person will find something to complain about. Oftentimes, this personality type will actually seek out groups that are working within the realm of self-mastery, such as churches, women groups, social media groups. Some have even been known to go into, rehabilitation groups for people who are overcoming addiction. And they will purposely place themselves in these communities in order to sort of manipulate the minds of the people that are in those groups. Those who are attending these types of workshops or sessions or groups, they're there to have a community, and they're there to be able to develop their own self-mastery and learn why they do what they do. And they're there to sort of get advice from other like-minded people or people who have once maybe been in the position that they're currently in. And this person, the dispirited, they will go into these groups and they will find a poor soul, wreak havoc on. This person will attend every meeting, every workshop, every session, every gathering. And oftentimes they will seek out one person or a group within the whole community to wreak their discouragement on. Once the individual that they chose or the group that they chose to work within starts to sort of energetically divert away from them, they will just go find a new hotspot. Distance yourself. These people are not there for self-mastery, nor do they care why anyone else is there. They are simply there to feed that dark ego that has consumed their entirety. Their priority is self, not service. This type of personality cannot be a good partner or be good in any type of relationship because they are always trying to find the next thing to complain about. Despite the many blessings they may have in their lives, they will have numerous problems with numerous people or numerous situations, and they will want to try and convince everybody else to have those same problems with those same people and those same situations. Keep in mind, although they are obviously very selfish, these people do not like themselves, not even a little bit. Personal life is most likely non-existent. They will sit and stew over what someone else said or what someone else did. They're continuously living in the past or trying to predict what somebody may do or say in the future. Do not feel bad about walking away from this person. Send them love and detach. They will find a new source to project their agony onto. Number 2, the false face. This person does not like your mission to self-mastery. They may even come across as very supportive and then try and throw something in there that confuses you and diverts their support and then come right back to being in support mode. This could sound something like this. I am so proud of you for all the achievements you made in your life. You have come so far in progressing in yourself and your inner work. It would really suck if you went back to being how you were before. But I don't think that's going to happen. Do you see what happened there? They went from showing you love to jolting you back to the past to showing you love again. When we are in the beginning phases of our inner work process, a comment like this, although it seems harmless, that person knows what they're doing. But it seems harmless. You couldn't really use it against them for anything. But what this does is it takes your mind back to that time when your life was less fulfilling. Because the brain cannot tell the difference between when you're thinking about a situation or when that situation is actually happening, your brain will automatically trigger that survival mode, that fight or flight, that fear state that you were in at that time that you're now thinking about. There were a lot of dark things that happened back then. There was a lot of work you've had to go through just to get to this state of awareness in your current life. You do not want to go back there. But a situation like this will trigger that fear state, that fight or flight survival mode, and it will take you back there. And it can automatically put you in a state of low self-worth, low self-love, and oftentimes kind of a low-grade depressive type state. This type of action is called love bombing and trauma bonding. So what happens here is the person throws something at you that's loving, and then they're going to throw something else at you to keep you bonded to a trauma that you experienced. Any type of trauma that throws off your mental clarity and your self-worth and your sort of positive mindset will be at risk for going back to being the same state it was before you started all your inner work. This is why when a situation happens to us, we need to stop calling ourselves victims, because every time we call ourselves a victim, that tells our brain that we were victimized. And then it gets us to thinking, why were we victimized? What did I do to deserve this? I don't know how to handle it. Now, I know that talking about these things that happen in our life bring us closer to other people that have had these situations happen in our lives. But do me a favor, stop referring to yourself as a victim. You were not a victim. You had an experience. If you had an experience with assault, then you experienced assault. Or if you were raped, you had an experience with a rapist. If you were sexually molested as a child, you had an experience with a sexual predator. You are not a victim. Whatever happened to you, you will grow from it, you will learn from it, you will learn how to overcome it, and you will be able to help other people. If you had a problem with addiction and there is somebody in your life that keeps reminding you of that problem, lose that person now. They're doing this. They do the love bonding, the trauma bonding, love bonding, trauma bonding. They are going to be there for you when you need somebody because everybody else is gone. And then they are going to keep you in that state. The moment you try to get out of that state and other people start coming into your life, they are going to remind you of what your problem is and how you had no self-control at one time. And it will be so much easier for you to go back to that state because you are not yet fully healed. Keep in mind, these people think their shit don't stink, and it pisses them off that you are not participating in any low-level frequency with them. Misery loves company, and probably up until now, you have been a very easy target for them. They may even detach from you, only to show up months later, trying to do some sort of manipulative mind game again. Do not feel bad about walking away from this person. Send them love and detach. They will always find a new source to project their agony onto. And because we saved the best for last, the third type of person to avoid is the savage. This person's main mission is to destroy any form of peace and joy, also known as the wolf in sheep's clothing. This person will put all efforts in to learning things that you're doing or learning things that you are working on. And they will seem extremely supportive at first until later on down the road, their mask begins to slip. They will want to know everything you're reading, watching, learning, listening to. They will sit and listen attentively without peeping one word. They will want to know everything about you, and they're just sitting there soaking it all up. You are their supply. And because you are their supply, they cannot risk you having a mind of your own. This person will actually go behind your back and say false things about you to other people. And then when a situation arises because of their words, they will act completely shocked. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe anybody would ever even think that about you. They will offer to go and seek out the culprit that may have blasted your name all over the place. Once you have been dubbed someone's supply, it is extremely hard to detach. This relationship will essentially beat you down, but in the end, it will be your greatest achievement to self-mastery. Oftentimes, these are people who have positioned themselves in your life so that you have become completely reliant and codependent on having them in your life. They can often be parents, grandparents, close friends, close longtime friends, spouses, even your children or other close family members can take on the roles of the savages. They are in your life playing a role that might ideally be held at a higher standard, such as a parent or grandparent. We tend to hold parental advice and grandparents' advice to a high standard because that's what we learn when we're young, and those are the people that we turn to for our structure and developments. If you have a savage in your life, this person will lack any sort of solid advice. They will use money, services, and material goods to stay in your good graces. That way, any thought of you wanting to discard them from your life will make you feel incredibly bad. Do not feel bad about walking away from this person. Send them love and detach. They will always find a new source to project their agony onto. Sometimes these three types of people are people in our lives that we have to interact with. Even at work, home, outside environment, anything. Don't be afraid to interact with this person, but definitely keep your distance. And when you are fully healed and you have worked through all your traumas, people like this won't even exist in your life. You won't be calling them in, and they will know right away that you can't be fucked with. If it's one thing that I cannot mention enough, is that the road to self-mastery is just that. Self-mastery. Personal alignment. It all goes back to you. You can't fulfill your needs through other people, and other people cannot get to you unless you allow it. This is you becoming unchained from conditionings and breaking away from program patterns to figure out who you truly are, your authentic self. There are so many people out there that don't even realize that they have a mind of their own, and they don't have to think what their parents thought, or they don't have to do and talk like somebody else told them is the proper way to do and talk. Now that you are aware of these types of personalities, it will be a lot easier to comb through all that darkness and not let it penetrate you when you're on your road to self-development. I hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell for instant notifications. We can also be found on Facebook. Hit that thumbs up and check notification settings. Head on over to Instagram. We are there too, and I'm pleased to announce that we are now on Pinterest. Want to know a little more about me? Head on over to SOULDUCATE.com. Sign up for a hologram and get any upcoming updates right to your inbox. Are you interested in one-on-one services? Click the drop-down menu for more info on what I offer and how to book a free chat. In closing, always remember, you hold the power. No one can hold you back. Not the past, not the present, or the future, unless you allow it. Chapters will end, and every new chapter will demand a different, elevated version of you.